Happy Monday. Welcome in to the beginning of a brand new week here at the Kids City Chiefs Report. Before we get any further in today's show, let's do a little trivia question to start off your week. I want to see if you guys can name what Chiefs player led the team in rushing in the year of 1969, just after the great summer of 69. If you don't know, don't worry. We'll tell you at the end of today's show, but let's test your Chiefs knowledge and see. Chime in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for stopping by. We are talking cut candidates. It is about to get really serious over the coming days with NFL free agency on the horizon. We're going to look at some players the Chiefs could potentially move on, some surprise cut candidates to free up cap space before NFL free agency begins next week. Let's kind of set the scene for you here of where the Kansas City Chiefs are at this point in time. According to OverTheCap.com, the Chiefs cap space currently is about $17.62 million, and that's with the updated cap number of what the salary cap going up significantly to $279 plus million here in 2025. And when you think about the Chiefs' situation when it comes to giving the franchise tag to Trey Smith and then also try to potentially hold on to Nick Bolton and Justin Reid and then signing your draft picks and all that, that money can dwindle pretty quickly. So what would happen if they made the potential cuts we're talking about today? They could save close to $25 million in cap space if they were to make these moves here. And let me make one thing very clear. We're going to go through these. I'm going to give my verdict of what I would do with each individual player. And let me go ahead and say this. All right, I know there's been a lot of just BS and stupid talk out there about potentially cutting Travis Kelce. We're not going there today. Travis Kelce, the Chiefs will gladly take him back, and he is not retiring. So we're not mentioning Travis Kelce, but we will mention Joe Thuney to begin today's show. Joe Thuney coming in off of a very good season in 2024, where he started the year at the left guard spot, and with the uncertainty at the left tackle position, they slid him over to the left tackle spot, and he held his own and did a very good job. But he is getting older, 32 years of age to be exact, and if the Chiefs were to cut him, they could save $16 million. And to kind of break down the situation of where we're talking about here with Joe Thuney, his cap hit in 2025 is $27 million. That's a lot of money if you're the Kansas City Chiefs or any team for that matter when it comes to Joe Thuney. What I think the best solution, though, however, is not cutting Joe Thuney. If it were up to me, I would be looking to extend Joe Thuney. He's still playing at a high level. He's a valuable piece to this offensive line, playing multiple positions, still at a very high level as well. I think the best point of action is to extend Joe Thuney, and that can actually allow you to free up $12 million in cap space with an extension. So for me, that makes the most sense, is to keep Joe Thuney, still free up some cap space here, and keep him around as far as that goes. Our pinned comment today, should the Chiefs cut Joe Thuney? What do you guys think? Type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know. HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Next up, this one won't come as a surprise to some people, but I think the surprise here is just how quickly this all went downhill for Skyy Moore, the former second-round pick just a few years ago. There was a lot of hype, a lot of excitement about his potential of what he could do as a receiver and a return specialist, and it just hasn't worked out at all for Skyy Moore with his struggles to stay healthy, with the lack of impact on the football field. Say what you want about Brett Veach. He's done an incredible job. He's got a great track record when it comes to the draft. And every once in a while, you're going to have your misses. You can't get them all right. Skyy Moore, unfortunately, was just one of those guys the Chiefs did not get right. Now, there's not a ton of money to be saved if you were to move on from Skyy Moore, you would be saving about $1.5 million in cap space. This more so is about the roster spot here. When you get to the 53-man roster, when we do the roster cuts before the season begins, I think you're much better served using that spot on somebody else rather than paying Skyy Moore. And at this juncture, I think you're just best cutting your losses and moving on and cutting Skyy Moore at this point. And I'll say this, I think Skyy Moore, it didn't go right. It didn't go as expected, as you would have hoped for Skyy Moore. But at the end of the day, that's okay. Brett Veach has done such a good job with nearly everything else. I can live with moving on from Skyy Moore and trying to upgrade that position otherwise. So I hate that we had to get to this point, but I don't think the Chiefs really have another choice than to move on from Skyy Moore right now. Should the Chiefs cut Skyy Moore? Is it time? Or is it past time, for that matter? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes and for no if you think they should move on from Skyy Moore or not. We are certainly ramping things up with off-season coverage here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we are talking daily news and rumors. We're bringing you live shows on Tuesdays. We are talking draft, trades, free agency, everything you need to know in regards to your Kansas City Chiefs. Your one-stop shop right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications. Look, I'm telling you, it is going to get wild the next couple of weeks. And I don't care if we're in the studio or if I'm back home at my apartment, whatever it may be. We're going to bring you videos whenever news breaks and keep you posted what's happening with your Kansas City Chiefs throughout the entire offseason. Subscribe now. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. Make it happen. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Next up, we find Joshua Williams at the corner position. Joshua Williams had an opportunity this past season when Jalen Watson went down to kind of show his own at the other outside corner spot, but he had his share of struggles this season. And you're looking at potentially saving $3.3 million if you were to keep him, if you were to cut him. I'll say this, though. I'm leaning towards keeping Joshua Williams here. I know that it didn't go great. I understand that. But I think you're still better off giving him another chance and adding some more depth to that corner room. Obviously, that is a weakness that you lack depth at that position, and let him compete and see what he does with another offseason of growth and development here. I think that $3.3 million, you're not going to find a whole lot better with that money saved than you would be just going ahead and giving Josh Williams one more chance. We know he's a good athlete. He just hasn't quite put it all together. I think I would personally keep Josh Williams if it all comes down to that. We got Chiefs hats on sale now for up to 50% off at chatsports.com/Chiefs hats. We have the baseball cap style, the flat bill version, and you can see for yourself all sorts of different options that we're showing on your screen right now. And there's plenty more to choose from, as well as the rest of our Chiefs merchandise. It's all in one place, chatsports.com/Chiefs hats. Get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Chiefs hats. Another name that folks are talking about, and this one certainly caught me off guard, is Leo Chenal at the linebacker position, who has established himself, and I think he's one of the more underrated players in the NFL. And if you were to cut him, you're looking at saving about $3.5 million if you did move on from him. But for me, I think this is silly, the idea that folks out there are suggesting that Leo could potentially be cut, especially when you consider that we don't know what's happening with Nick Bolton, if Nick Bolton is going to be back in 2025 or not. And if you cut Leo Chenal, then you are really digging yourself into a hole at that linebacker position of having to give it an extreme makeover home edition of sorts with moving on from both those guys. So I don't think it makes sense to move on from Leo. Personally, I hope Leo's here for a long time as far as that goes. I would keep him, but I'm very curious. If the Chiefs can only keep one of these guys, which one would you rather have, Joshua Williams or Leo Chenal? Type JW for Joshua Williams. Type LC for Leo Chenal. Weigh in the comment section and let us know. Last on the list is offensive tackle Wayna Morris. Wayna Morris, he was given a chance with Kingsley struggling at the start of the season. He became the starting left tackle, and it did not go well. Now, the reason why this is considered a potential surprise cut candidate is you're not going to save a ton of money if you move on from Wayna Morris, just over $450,000. And I know we have some viewers of this program that make more money than that. Not me, though. But with that said, I think it's one of those deals where if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, where you're saying to yourself, like, hey, we tried Wayna Morris. We've given him plenty of chances, and he's just not improving. He's not good enough. And it's not even just about the fact that he's not great as a starter, but he hasn't really shown that he can be counted upon as a backup either. And you could probably find some better options for backup offensive linemen than Wayna Morris. So personally, I would cut him if it were up to me. And, you know, it's something for me where I'm saying to myself, yeah, I'm not going to save a whole lot of money, but it's like what we mentioned with Skyy Moore earlier. I'm better off using that roster spot with somebody else. And I think that's what it comes down to for the Kansas City Chiefs. Before we go, we teased this at the top of the show. Little trivia question. Let's see who got this right. What Chiefs player led the team in rushing yards in 1969? It was a very nice season for Mike Garrett. How many of y'all remember that? Do I have some OGs in the chat that remember when Mike Garrett led the Chiefs in rushing yards? Tell me in the comments section if you remember that fine season from Mike Garrett. Appreciate you joining us here on today's show. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now for the latest happenings in your favorite team all off season long. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.